evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. Here are your top stories. What happens to the people living in tents near the waterfront when a new city attraction opens up just steps away? Plus, after nearly a month on the picket lines, we'll tell you where things stand between Unifor and Clear Medical Imaging. And we will meet Steve tonight. You might meet the retired auto worker as he greets you at a local Walmart or on TikTok, where he is making a splash. We begin tonight with the free trade deal between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. There's been a pact for decades, but now the future isn't looking so certain. Premier Doug Ford has suggested negotiating a separate deal with Mexico. It will be part of a strategy to keep China from accessing the North American market through Mexico. It's an issue that has high stakes for local industries. Dale Molnar reports.
A trade deal between Canada and Mexico must be maintained. That's according to organizations that represent the tool and mold industry and produce companies such as greenhouses. Premier Doug Ford is suggesting Canada renegotiate separate trade deals with the U.S. and Mexico when the current one expires in 2026. It's in response to concerns China is using Mexico as a backdoor to access the North American market, particularly for electric vehicles.
If there would be a strong negative impact.
Nicole Vlanich, who represents the tool and mold industry, explains that would happen if Canada didn't negotiate a trade deal with Mexico. She says that about 50 local companies have Mexican operations. They produce plastic injection molds for the auto industry. The molds are used by companies in Mexico to produce parts that are then shipped to Canada. Without the trade deal, Vlanich says the parts could face tariffs that would make the Mexican operations less cost-effective and may even result in them being shuttered.
And I think what the hope is that there's a resolution that isn't detrimental to doing business in Mexico, but also removes the availability of Mexico as a backdoor access to Chinese companies.
Meanwhile, a number of greenhouse vegetable growers in Essex County have partnered with Mexican entities to grow and ship produce, such as peppers, to Canada and to the U.S. from Mexico. The president of the Canadian Produce Marketing Association, Ron Lemaire, who represents them, says keeping a trade deal with Mexico is also important to their viability.
To start implementing a tariff-based model or a bilateral trading framework in a very integrated system that we are in North America would be detrimental.
Lemaire says adding a layer of bureaucracy to importing the produce without a trade deal would also slow down shipments of goods which are perishable and need to get through the U.S. quickly.
The need to ensure we're operating in an environment that creates an easy flow of fruit and vegetables is essential, and that flow functions in an integrated North American market.
Lemaire says they still favor a three-way trade deal because they also need to have a deal with the U.S., which allows the Canadian firms in Mexico to ship to the U.S. for packaging. He says it's hard to align two separate deals. Vlanich hopes the Mexican backdoor can be kept shut with methods such as changes to the country of origin regulations. A new deal must be in place by July 1st, 2026. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
A refurbished streetcar has long been planned to be displayed on the riverfront. Streetcar number 351 was supposed to be ready for the fall, but now it's been pushed back to next spring. But as the site is prepped for visitors, across the street, tents and makeshift shelters are known to pop up. And some who live there fear the arrival of the streetcar will push them out. Jacob Barker has more.
There are concerns from people that live in these tents here that the place where they've chosen to live may be affected by this, the Legacy Beacon project. It's a more than $9 million project that the City of Windsor is building just a stone's throw away on the waterfront. It's meant to attract crowds to the area. The ravine has attracted attention of its own in recent years. In 2020, after being dubbed a tent city, the city moved in and people were moved out. Since then, a couple of tents have returned.
The police told us to stay away from everywhere else.
They say that if
they want us to come west.
Daniel Sterling and Nicole Price set up a tent here a couple of weeks ago. The couple say the mess below was here when they arrived, but for now, they plan to stay.
There's no shelters for couples. And I want to leave her side. She's not going to leave my side, right? But they want to. They're trying to split us up.
Hearing about the Legacy Beacon project for the first time, they question the city's priorities.
They could have actually prevented some of this, but instead of spending all that money on this stupid development, put it towards something that'll actually help fund homelessness. Places for homeless people to stay or to sleep, more options for us to get housing.
I get calls from all the residents and everyone in this area about this situation. I don't think just because there's a project going on there, it makes it any worse or any better.
Ward Councillor Ronaldo Agostino regularly visits the area to clean up and check on those that live here. He says people shouldn't be living here, but it has nothing to do with the Beacon project.
If the question is, are we going to be barraging one tent and a bunch of garbage because we're opening up some fancy project that people seem to be divided on? No, I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue here is that people shouldn't be living outdoors, especially with the winter coming, in a tent surrounded by garbage and quite potentially dangerous materials here.
And this trolley, whether we like it or not, is a positive thing, but it means that's not the only thing we need to or can deal with. We are smart enough to deal with a couple issues, both creative opportunities and then crises as we have with homelessness right now. Let's deal with them both.
Bob Cameron with the Downtown Windsor Community Collaborative says this city does what it can with the resources it has, but finding safe alternatives for people who choose not to stay in shelters is important.
We can't force anyone to live somewhere, but with the proper supports, effective, skilled people can help move them along or walk alongside someone out of living on the street to finding a safer place.
A safer place Sterling and Price have yet to find. They are concerned that the new development will shine a light on the area and cause them to have to move again.
They're just trying to kick us out farther, either down the west or away from, you know what I mean, the downtown area, period.
Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
We've got Colette Kennedy now for a quick weather update. Colette, we finally saw those flurries this morning.
I mean, did we ever? Yeah. We're talking about the airport reporting 7 hours of light snow coming down, and in fact has just returned again. Now, you would think that would add up to quite a bit, and as you know, it didn't. Kind of a trace, a little bit of a dusting on the cars, that kind of thing. So we likely will have a few more flurries and some fog overnight tonight. 2 degrees, the overnight low. We may dip to 1, but generally will be around 2. And tomorrow, still a chance for some showers and a high of 7.
Thanks for that, Colette. We will check back in with you later on in the program. Thanks.
See you then.
In other news, Canada Post workers have been on strike now for almost a week. The work stoppage affects 55,000 employees across the country and more than 500 in Windsor. The strike is especially hurting small businesses, charities, and rural communities. And we spoke with some of you about how the stop and mail delivery is making an impact.
On a personal level, it's costing me a little bit more money because my wife's birthday is coming up first of next month, and she's a huge Taylor Swift fan, and she keeps dropping new items on her website, so postage has been a little bit more money, but I guess it's a small price to pay for workers' rights.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to send a lot of mail, especially because it's Christmas time. I'm trying to send Christmas cards. Hopefully they can get there in time. I'm trying to order packages for Christmas presents, and obviously the stoppage is affecting all of that.
Yeah, so you like to send Christmas cards. You're not going to do any this year, or you're going to have to do them by hand, by mail, deliver them in person.
I'm going to have to get creative, that's for sure.
So are you thinking that this strike will go on past the holidays?
I'm really hoping not, because that's going to affect a lot of people. I mean, I hope it gets solved soon so that they can get what's fair and we can get our Christmas stuff sent.
Yeah, so I ordered a sweater off of Etsy, and it is currently stuck in the mail. I cannot go and get it from the mailbox. And that's about it for me.
How long ago did you order that sweater? When was it supposed to arrive?
It was supposed to arrive last Monday, so it's only a week late so far, but we'll see.
Now, was that for a gift for yourself, or was that for somebody else? Was that a Christmas gift?
Yes, it was a gift for my boyfriend, actually.
Do you send Christmas cards at all, and will that be affecting you?
Well, we just got married in October, so we do have Christmas cards coming out, but hopefully it comes out after the strike. If not, you know what? There'll be January cards.
Workers at Clear Medical Imaging locations across our region, like this one, have been on strike for nearly a month. That means that patients in our area who are waiting for ultrasounds and x-rays, well, a lot of them are still waiting. And a couple of weeks ago, talks broke down, but now both the union and the company, they are back at the bargaining table. The union says this is good news and talks are progressing. The company's CEO says that if both parties commit to working hard at the table, they'll be able to get a deal soon and get health services back up and running. Greenpeace staged a protest in the driveway of Pierre Poilievre's house in Ottawa today. The environmental group says it was to draw attention to what they call the Conservative leader's anti-climate agenda. Two activists locked themselves to a replica of an oil pump jack in front of the residence. Police say the demonstrators did not allow Poilievre's family to pass. The protesters were removed and arrested with charges pending. Many of the Black residents of southwestern Ontario can trace their family history all the way back to the Underground Railroad. Nearly 200 years ago, their ancestors escaped slavery in the United States by migrating north. Now, a powerful photographic exhibit at Art Windsor, Essex, tells the stories of these families. It's called North is Freedom. One of the subjects of the photo essay is Daryl Hogan. He spoke with Windsor Morning host Amy Dodge earlier today, and he began by telling the story of where his ancestors came from.
It's actually a fascinating story. So they were actually in Kansas, Sam and Jane Harper. They were not married at the time, and they were enslaved on two different farms in Kansas. And at the time, in the mid-1800s, there was a battle going on to determine whether Kansas would be a free state or a slave state. Perseverance definitely is the key to that story. You know, I would not be here had it not been for them. And, you know, I look back on that and think that's kind of the key to my family history.
You had a chance to see the photo exhibit. How did you feel seeing how this came together and knowing that your family history is going to live on?
I've actually seen it a number of times, and I was actually at the embassy in Washington when it opened for the first time. That was probably the most surreal experience. My face was actually plastered on the side of the embassy, so it was really an exciting experience, but also thinking back to why I was actually involved in this and what those people had to go through and how they developed their lives here in Canada.
How often do you acknowledge the greeter when you enter a store? Well, in Amherstburg, the Walmart greeter is usually Steve Taylor. And not only is he getting recognized at Walmart, but he's also getting recognized on TikTok. So we here at Windsor Morning went to meet him.
My name is Steve. I'm the people greeter at Walmart. I've been here for 17 years, and I really enjoy doing it. I retired from Ford Motor Company, and I saw an ad come up from Walmart when they were building a store, and I applied, and the rest is history. I've been here 17 years in December. I love it. It's the people are great. It's like another family.
Take me through a typical day. What time do you start, and what do you do?
I'm here greeting people, but I also try and keep things tidy up here and move the carts out of the lobby so they're not in the way of people, and just welcome everybody. And I've gotten to know a lot of people since I've been here. A lot of people come in, they say, "Hi, Steve," because I've been here for a long time. So, how you doing today? Good. Have a good day, Steve. You too, thank you. I like to keep myself going because I'm getting a little older, and I like to keep myself moving, and this is why I do it.
You've been on a lot of the social videos. What do you like about that?
It's just a lot of fun, and I don't really know until I see them myself, but we just did one yesterday, and it's gone over really, really huge, so I guess we got a lot of likes on this one. So.
Hey, Steve, what you got there?
Great value fudge cream cookies, and they're absolutely delicious.
Oh, can I have one?
No way, you get your own.
Do people recognize you from the videos?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. What do they say?
They just say, "Hey, you're becoming famous," or whatnot. And I said, "Well," I said, "you know, these guys are doing this to me." So.
What do you want people to learn about you?
I'm friendly, and you know, I like to be around people, and I enjoy seeing the people come in. And like I say, I've seen people have children and bring up their families, and now they call me Steve too. And it's, you know, it's just a nice experience. Morning. How are you? How's it going? Have a good day. See you later.
We want to tell you about how we are launching our holiday campaign called Make the Season Kind. The goal is all about helping those who are experiencing food insecurity in our community, and we are asking for your help. So just head to our website and look for this banner. It has details on the various ways you can participate. And as part of the campaign, we're heading to Bright Lights on December 5th. We'll be at Jackson Park to live broadcast our show and to collect donations for our food drive, and we hope to see you there. Live look outside there. When we come back, international news. Stay with us. Welcome back. We have a major development from the Middle East after the ICC issued arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with a top Hamas official. But first, we look at the new measures announced by the Trudeau government to tackle affordability for Canadians.
I'm Olivia Stefanovich in Ottawa, where opposition parties are reacting to a major affordability announcement by the Liberal government, a plan to temporarily scrap the GST on many essential goods just in time for the holidays.
Our government can't set prices at checkout, but we can put more money in people's pockets.
The Prime Minister announcing financial relief during a challenging economic and political time.
2 months, Canadians are going to get a real break on everything they do.
Starting December 14th, the federal government wants to lift the federal sales tax on almost everything at the grocery store, plus beer and wine. The tax break will also apply to family goods, including children's clothing, diapers, and toys. When the GST vacation is over, Ottawa intends to send $250 checks to every Canadian whose annual income is less than $150,000. New Democrats say they will help pass the government's bill.
We know that middle-class families need a break, so we're going to work as hard as possible to get this done as quickly as possible.
With Jagmeet and Justin, it is double trouble for Canadians.
The NDP support fresh fuel for conservative attacks.
What we have is a 2-month temporary tax trick that will not make up for the permanent quadrupling carbon tax on heat, housing, food, and fuel.
The proposed measures will cost approximately $6 billion.
It's a bit weird as a way to do things.
Money that the Bloc Québécois was looking for to permanently boost seniors' pensions.
The Liberals have shown that when they need billions of dollars in order to literally buy votes, they find it.
Before Canadians can see any relief at the checkout, a non-stop debate in the House of Commons needs to be set aside. It's jammed up Parliament for 2 months, and there's no end in sight. The NDP will only agree to a pause to get these measures through. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
I'm Tom Parry in Jerusalem, where a bombshell announcement from the International Criminal Court has sparked fury in Israel's government. The International Criminal Court accuses Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant, of war crimes and crimes against humanity. It's issued arrest warrants accusing them of using starvation as a method of war, murder and persecution in their pursuit of Hamas in their war against Gaza. What this means is that these men could face arrest if they travel to countries outside Israel that recognize the International Criminal Court. The European Union does recognize the court, and its foreign policy chief was asked about this today.
It is not a political decision. It is a decision of a court of justice, of the International Court of Justice. And the decision of the court has to be respected and implemented.
Canada is also part of the International Criminal Court, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked today what this means for Canada.
We stand up for international law, and we will abide by all the regulations and rulings of the international courts.
The court has also issued an arrest warrant for Mohammed Ziad Ibrahim al-Masri, also known as Mohammed Daif. He's head of Hamas's military wing, but Israel says it killed him over the summer in an airstrike. Hamas has never confirmed that. The ICC says it has no way of knowing whether he's alive or dead, and so it's decided to go ahead with this warrant. Tom Parry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Coming up tomorrow on Windsor Morning, the legacy of Duke Ellington, 125 years after his birth. Host Amy Dodge will hear how a local pianist is remembering the titan of early jazz. That's tomorrow on Windsor Morning on 97.5 FM, and we will have more of your weather right after the break. Colette Kennedy is back now for once again a look at weather. And Colette, I really want to be upset about the cold, but I guess it's finally seasonally appropriate, so I'm really not allowed to complain.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it so many times, spoiled. I've used that word, I think, a lot with the weather that we've had this fall. So in terms of those who do like it mild, if you like it a little cooler, well, now is your time. Looking at the temperature currently at 1 degree, but you'll notice something, London at -1. Now, our high for today for Windsor was actually 4, but that was just after midnight last night, because this afternoon the best we could do was 3 degrees in terms of any warmth. So really that cooler air in place has allowed some of that moisture to turn into light snow. In most cases, just kind of a trace on the ground, or it couldn't really stick around, or a little dusting on the car, but enough that it is there and you see it. And the winds, well, they're light at the moment, but I do want to caution you, they won't be staying light. So we're going to be finding those winds picking up through the overnight hours tonight. And not only will they be stronger overnight, they remain so through most of the day on Friday. So we're talking at times some of those gusts, yes, being over 50 kilometers an hour, and even the sustained winds will be strong. So that's going to be quite a cool breeze that you'll be experiencing. And then a few other things going on here that makes it hard for us to break out of not only the cloud cover, but some of the precipitation. Now, we've got some light showers in the area, and again, turning into some wet flurries through the overnight. You could see some of that mixing right there on the radar. We're near the center of an area of low pressure that's kind of that core colder center that's in place, but the energy is really going to be transferring to yet another system that's kind of forming here along the eastern seaboard. And so between those two systems, we're like that rose between two thorns. It makes it very difficult to break out of this, and that's why the next several days I have quite a bit of cloud cover and at times precipitation in the forecast, generally in the form of showers, but at times there'll be that little bit of changeover. So there's that rotation counterclockwise around an area of low pressure. And so it just keeps kind of throwing these bands back at us. So time we get off, and then time we're back on to showers, generally quite light in nature, however. So that's perhaps some of the good news in there. Overnight, the temperature may dip down to around 1 at times, but I'd say through the middle overnight hours will be around 2. And then by early tomorrow morning, that'll be coming up to about 4. And by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be up at 8 degrees with those windy conditions. However, there's my cloud deck staying in through the weekend, and then more showers to come at the beginning of next week.
Thanks for that, Colette. And thanks to you all for watching. That is it for CBC Windsor News. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Good night.